Hello, and welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to use this basically as a more educational kind of video. So there is a magnitude of mess ups throughout this entire video. I'm in general assuming that this will just be a relatively easy match because the enemy healer is playing medicine, tank is slow at guard swapping, and it's a guardian DPS, so we don't really have much to worry about. However, the sentinel is not terrible, or S Marauder. Unfortunately for me, with all the mess ups in this match, we have a lot of issues that honestly it's just not worth it for me in game to try to explain. And without being rude, I can't explain it in time, so it's going to come off as me being an asshole and egotistical, and that is not the outcome that I actually want. People are not going to usually react kindly to that, and I am sitting here off healing, and we have an issue. So first issue is already shown. Now, I don't have any issue with Tread. I love Tread. He's funny sometimes. He does rage a little bit too much, but I mean, that's going to happen when you sit there and play Arena all day and drink a lot. As an entertainer, I find him pretty enjoyable, and this couldn't be used as a learning experience for him, but it's totally up to him whether he wants to take criticism or not. I do not mind, but regardless, I'm using this as an educational view for the players that need it. I'm not trying to single out Dread or anything here, but this is going to be mainly about what happens here and also what my teammates decide to do. Now, I can run a dirty kick and make this a lot easier, but I choose simply to not, and the main reason for that is that I just want to kind of have a game where I am hindering myself in a way that isn't completely obvious. I don't want to make it obvious to the enemy team, but I also don't want to make it obvious to my team. I'm still playing relatively normally. I just can't stun anybody, which is not good because a lot of the kill secures that could happen would be from stuns, and having my team actually focus on saving their stuns for opportune times makes it a better learning experience for them instead of me just pretty much doing all the dirty work. Now to get in here, we see that he's already popped in Enraged Defense. This is a terrible mistake. He gets stunned once and he pops his most powerful defensive. As far as I know, I don't think he's running the cooldown reduction on it either. So it doesn't put us in a great situation here. I am off healing him, so this ED gets immediately wasted. He maybe gets 2 ticks of healing here at maximum, and he is now without a defensive to respond to when he gets stunned. This means that whenever I get stunned and there's multiple people on him, he is going to crumble, and there's not really much I can do about that. I can kind of sustain him, and if he tries to save it for as long as he can, that is the best way to play it. He wants to use his other defenses first, so that way I can actually sit there and off heal him. Alternatively, if he really has to use it when he's really low, there's nothing really wrong with that. However, popping this just because you're stunned and you're near max HP is a terrible move. They are not that much of a threat. We also have a Carnage Marauder sitting right here, but this is definitely something that is a issue. I'm going to move on from this. So playing this out now, as you see the ED gets wasted. Still probes on him. I get my probes reapplied to the Sentinel since he's in cleave here too. This is a bad situation. He gets pushed over the edge, but they're not focusing him. My Sork barriers at max health almost. Isn't really using line of sight, and he's kind of in melee range. It's a really weird situation for me. I refresh my probes on the Sentinel and refresh them on Dread. Unfortunately, he jumps off. This guy's popped his barrier already, so he's kind of not worth saving. I won't be able to really help him. He popped too early, and that's when I knew that we shouldn't expect much from the Sork. And I just focus on healing the Sentinel and the Juggernaut. However, the Juggernaut is going to crumble just like the Sork. That's mainly just because he's already used his defensive. Our Marauder is S-keying us, Carnage Marauder, and sweeping slashing. I'm not really sure of the strategy behind that, and as you can see, the first stun that happens to me, Dread just dies. This puts us in a crappy situation. Even if I wasn't stunned, I would only be able to prolong his life a little bit longer, but it really wouldn't make much of a difference. In this situation, I need my team to use their defensives a little bit more conservatively, and I also need my team to not waste them, like popping ED at near max health, and for the most part, try to hit the same target. I tell them it's not worth it to hit tank, it's better to hit into guarded target, which is the Guardian DPS that shuts down his DPS, but also at the same time, once that DPS is dead, we can heal through their damage with no problem at all. However, they want to kill the tank, and that's just going to make things that much more difficult because a lot of our damage types are not good at hitting into tank. I can do decent damage to the tank. Then slam only does decent to good damage when it's slam spamming. So that's not a great strategy for Vengeance, and for Carnage it's a not good strategy unless you have a stun on the target, because the defense chance of missing their Saint Blast is a good ability, however, into tank. So we just need to stun him. It's not an optimal strategy, it's better to hit the Vengeance or swapping to the healer. Or not the Vengeance, the Guardian. And this round is pretty much over, but I want to prolong it a little bit just to showcase that these guys aren't as much of a threat as they seem. And unfortunately, during this time, Jed spends the time to try to make a strategy, which is okay. I don't really mind it. A plan is better than no plan, but I don't want them to do this plan. This is like the opposite of what I want them to actually do. I want them to be hitting the guys in the reverse order there, actually. And the main reason is that this Sentinel / Marauder is actually decent, so he's going to maybe not make the perfect moves, but he's going to make good enough moves against these guys. So we need to focus on getting the Guardian DPS down, shut down their damage so we can go through it easier, and then the tank is going to crumble because he's tried to protect the Guardian DPS for as long as he has, and then the healer will pretty much just crumble at any point, as we'll be pressuring him at any point that we can in between there. So now I am going to say focus on damage and stop thinking as much as you are. It's not as complex and it's not as crazy as these players are making it out to be. And in reality, really, the only thing that we need to do is focus on damage, and all he has to do is do damage. Slam is really the only thing that he needs to do. There's a lot of times where Dread has played this game, and he's had matches where all he has to do is hit slam and he'll win, but he'll prioritize hitting another ability instead of slam. Every single time slam is off cooldown, not cooldown. Every time it's off cooldown, Dread, if you watch this, you need to be hitting slam. Just slam, slam, slam. It doesn't matter. It's your #1 priority ability. Always hit slam. Don't bother with anything else. Hit slam. Spam the crap out of slam. Don't use anything else but slam. If slam is available, slam. Don't use it when you don't have dots on the target. So obviously shatter. Shatter's your main dot that you do, and then you'll use force screen. Then slam, and then impel and hew, and then probably pop and rage and slam and slam and slam and slam, 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 slam. Probably have more slams. Just slam. That's really all you have to do. It's nothing complex about Vengeance. The main reason it works, if ever, is because you're able to sit here and slam. This round goes the same way. He popped ED way too soon. I can't heal through this. We're both slam spamming each other. There's annihilation. Not a great situation. The team plays us even better, however, even though we have some messages from Dread, which is totally fine. I don't expect the world from him. I expect him just to try. That's all I could ask for any of these players, which is why I'm using this as an educational purpose. I have no ill intent or desire to want to judge somebody on their gameplay here. We definitely can win this. And if I take 30 kick, I think we 100% win this. I just chose not to, as I felt it would be a better learning experience if we take the extra handicap because that means I have to rely on my allies a little bit more. Unfortunately, their healer tried to kite a little bit too much. He definitely should have been off his team. I'm less so worried about his own survival. Should have been more important to him, but it's okay. He did a decent amount of damage because he did slam spam a little bit. If he does that again and doesn't ED at pretty much max health, we're pretty much set. So really all we have to do is get him near the tank and slam spam. If he wants to hit the tank, fine. But we should be hitting the Guardian, and that's okay. I'm done trying to argue with the target rotation because nobody really seems to care in this match. And you get to see the consequences of that here. He asked me to support him. I've been doing 6k HPS average for each of these rounds. I believe at the end it's 6k. It's not a crazy amount of healing, but in reality, I'm really only healing one person outside of myself. And they're not particularly doing crazy amounts of damage. They're just kind of doing a little bit more single target. And, I can actually heal through. So in this situation, this is not bad. We're getting a lot of pressure on the tank. ED and Saber Ward. It's great for us. We also get something out of the healer here. It's revitalizers, or not revitalizers, but stim boost and evasion earlier. Kind of sitting on health, which is weird. Should have the sentinel hitting him, but since our sentinel has gone to Narnia and our Sork that hasn't really done much this entire match is getting peels from the sentinel or something. I don't really understand what's going on here. They shouldn't be over there. They should be with the jug at all times. I cannot afford to leave the jug. So this is pretty much where this match kind of concludes. We lose this match purely just because our other two teammates are deciding not to play. We still have obvious issues, and this is a perfect example as to why we don't play tank tunnel. Regardless of whether they have a healer or not, we can actually outdo the HPS going into the tank here and kill him through the heals. Heals is not as powerful as DPS, so if you actually just learn how to do DPS, it's not as big of an issue. If we had one more player, honestly, we almost killed this person. If I had hard stun, we could have probably just flat out killed him, but again, you know, I'm not really even making use of my grenade. I have used it, but for the most part, it's not a situation where it'll secure a kill. And I don't really see a reason to use it at this point because it's just pretty much over. Our Sork was a detriment, and that's totally okay. Some people go for Arena and they don't understand how they should play, and without seeing really what they were doing, I can't really tell them, you know, how to play better, honestly. Somebody like that wants help in Sork. There's a lot of decent Sork players that do play, and without seeing like footage, I can't really help them. It's a more finesse kind of class where you have to be very mindful about things, and a lot of people just aren't in that spec or IS class. Unfortunately, I have my GCD window a little too high, so I end up double rolling there, which sucks, but isn't going to save him either way. Our other DPS decided not to really play with us, and as much as I can try to help and support Dread, there's no supporting through that, and outside of, you know, just consistently using ED at way too high of health, we're in a bad situation. I prolonged the match a little bit longer, but at this point I'm kind of just like, you know, I guess we deserve this. I don't really think we deserve to win every single match, but I do feel like this could have been definitely winnable and serves as a decent experience for players to understand that damage is the most important thing, and you don't really have to focus on anything else. Don't overthink it. And we're going to go into another match here where it's a 3v3. Alright, so getting into this 3 versus 3, we end up getting a Deception Sin. Playing Lethality. They have a Lethality, Madness, Immortal, and I believe our Sentinel is Carnage or Combat. Unfortunately, the Sentinel doesn't really do much, but it does help balance out the match a little better. The Lethality Operative isn't amazing, and the tank is not terrible. He is guarding, which is really important. He's taking a decent amount of damage before he dies, and on top of that, he's also somewhat doing his job in damage. Tanks don't normally do a crazy amount of damage in matches like these because they have to really focus defensively, but unfortunately he doesn't really do that as much, so that's when the skill factor kind of like comes into play a little bit more. Their team has the statistical advantage because lethality is just going to stomp Carnage at pretty much every opportunity. The Sork gets guard, so Carnage can't really just brute force Sork. So he ends up being almost irrelevant, and him not being very good doesn't really change the outcome as much. Then we have Deception, which is a wild card. It's kind of just really good in situations like these because they let it free cast, and that's something that they never should have when it comes to learning purposes here. Don't let a Deception Zen just do whatever he wants. There's a reason why sometimes you actually go with the Deception Zen. The reason is just to lower the damage output. You know that somebody is not really going to do that much damage. For example, this Carnage Marauder. It's definitely better to shut down the DPS, and that's what they should have done. They have a more of a turtle comp, so that means in that situation you don't want to be going for just live lord strategies where you kill the first person and that's it, and you just hope that everybody else crumbles. That's just not going to work, especially on classes that can just reset. You need to actually just deal with shutting down the damage and try to stay healthy. Now, what they could have done at any point, swap to either Assassin or me. Either one would work. I would go for the Assassin because they take damage much easier. And unfortunately, in round one, the Lethality Operative just kind of fumbles and doesn't deal with the Deception Zen correctly. Most likely broke, and then a Shadowcraft opener. At least I assume that's probably what happened. He kind of died off screen. He doesn't do too hot this round, but at the same time, neither does our Combat Sentinel this round. But, you know, at the very least, he helps all his CDs, unlike that Operative round one. This round was a little bit more interesting. That's the only reason I'm uploading it, because I just want to showcase how annoying and how rough it can be as a Sork when you don't have an opportunity to build your .dr, and how much it can kind of like turn to momentum. Like when you get the .dr a little bit too late, it doesn't really matter. So in this situation, you know, creating too much distance from your tank is not a great ideal. That definitely cost him a decent amount of health, but he's able to cast, he'll be able to regain that health. Again, same strategy, they want to kill Sentinel. Not a great ideal. They should have at least tried something different in this round. Should have gone for the Sen, since you're on the best map to catch people and try and keep you set. That is definitely something incredibly important to do. They could very easily have the Lethality Operative go chase him down, and or have the Sork try to do it while the tank and the Lethality Operative kill me off him. Unfortunately, that's not what they do, and he manages to get it away there. I definitely could have done more, but I was assuming that he wouldn't fumble his defensives this time. In this situation, I've used my breaker, so I have to be a little wary, trying to keep my hots up and support him as much as I can, but also not spend too much time on just healing myself so we can focus on damage. This is a situation where damage is definitely the most important thing here. So I'm getting my off heals, and outside of that, we're trying to pressure the tank because the tank is arguably the person that's going to die here. And then the Lethality Operative unfortunately comes back in this situation. I don't want to get caught in a stun. I don't have my breaker, so I want to play it safe. Don't want to get stunned at too low of health. I have a Zorb DR here, and I'm about to get stunned, and it's about to fall off. And it fell off as I took a blow, thankfully. That wasn't any higher than what it was, and I also had my probes already up on me, so it wasn't as bad. Either way, he still would have got the tank. His nerve was about to fall off. Dots would have killed him, and Dots is what ended up killing him. Now we both reset, and we need to regen. Now, for the enemy team, what they need to do is stand in the middle on the bridge. Somebody stay at bottom, someone stay up. They thought the Operative should be down, Sork should be up, and be prepared to spam Force Storm wherever we reveal. Now, unfortunately, he goes over there. For some reason, I see a great opportunity to regen. He should have instantly noticed that and spammed AoE in my direction. However, you know, it's probably more so looking for the Sen instead of me, which is not the greatest ideal, but it's okay. Sin ends up regening over there in the corner, and I see an opportunity to come over here and regen. This way they can't range open on me. I'm able to get my full regen. I open up on them so they can't get a optimal opener on our Sin. Unfortunately, he doesn't get a stealth opener, but it doesn't really matter. He only gets about 2 stacks of damage reduction here, which leaves him still in a squishy spot. And the other lethality operative doesn't really feel for him. Isn't hotting him, isn't off healing him. He's kind of screwed. Which in this situation just makes it that much of a better target, even if we could kill the lethality operative for not being as good of a player. This is a situation where you've really just gotta buckle down and hit the right target. You usually always want to take out the better player. You usually always want to deal with the person that's going to cause the most issues first, and the main reason for that is that damage is king, and if you just let people do whatever they want, you'll just die for it. So that is a great example of that, and had they swapped and hit our Sin first, I think I would not be able to out heal it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.